And then sometime after this is when we get our first true Godzilla attack, where he shows up in Tokyo Bay and the military attacks him, and obviously we know how this goes. The military can't do shit against him. To me, anyways, this is the scene that always stuck out to me as a kid. When he destroys a train, he just kind of steps on it. And again, this is pretty good model work. It's obviously a decent costume. It's a little cheesy in a way, but again, Ishiro Honda knows how to shoot this thing. There's a lot of really low angles with Godzilla, which just make him seem so huge and empowering and imposing. Yeah. They also did kind of a trick with the sets because they wanted to get those low angles and still get kind of the buildings in them, so they would build the sets and the miniatures above ground and have the camera kind of at ground level, like looking up at everything, which is pretty cool.
One other thing that they did really well was, I'm not sure if they did this, but it looks like they did it. Whenever Godzilla comes out of the water, it looks like they've kind of slowed the footage down a bit.
Yes, that's a huge thing, because that's one of the worst mistakes you can make with a miniature, with any kind of miniature that, or any kind of thing that you're trying to convey as being bigger than it actually is just shoot it at normal speed.
Yeah.
Because that's not how size works. And yeah, so when Godzilla comes out of the water dripping from him is in slow motion, and it looks great, and it's convincing.
Yeah, and it's always at night. He's coming out of the water at night with a shimmer or like a sheen on the water. It just looks great.
The only scene where we see him at day is his first scene. Or the first scene where we see him.
Yeah.
Which is probably when he looks worse, although that's not so much... I don't think that's so much because it's the light, but it's because they're projecting him onto a scene where... I don't know. Do you know that term? What that special effect is called?
I don't know, but I would call it like layering or something like that.
Yeah, that kind of... I mean, when Godzilla's in a 100% miniature scene, he looks great. And this is the first time we see him breathe his atomic breath. You know, since it's black and white, it's just smoke, basically, but in most of the color films, it's going to be like a blue. But this is the first reveal of that, and it's pretty great. And this scene goes on forever, because this is just total destruction. It's so wonderful.
Yeah, it's just like a montage of destruction.
Yeah, I mean, part of the appeal of Godzilla movies is it's fun to see things be destroyed. Mm-hmm. It's definitely part of it, and that's why even in some of the weak sequels, there's still moments of fun to be had. And it's not like, even though everything's a miniature, there's still exploding stuff and everything. I mean, it's still impressive, a lot of it.
Yeah, and I also really liked the shots in this scene where after like Tokyo's burning and these fire trucks come racing out.
Yeah.
And these fire trucks are just peeling around the corner all over the place. I'm like, this is so cool. Mm-hmm. And then what does he do? He puts his foot down in front of one and flips it, and all the firefighters get killed. That was also really neat. I mean, was that a miniature, or was that also animated?
Yeah, well, another great thing about this scene is because this is the destruction montage, if you will, just so much shit being blown up and being crushed. But they do a really good job of... It's not all just miniatures. They mix in real people, and they mix in real sets here and there. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a scene with like people in like some kind of boardroom or something, and they're like, "Oh shoot, we got to leave." And like right after they leave the room just collapses. Like, okay, that's cool. And there's a scene where people are out on like maybe like a balcony or like a porch or something, and then the building falls on them, and I'm pretty sure that's the same effect that they were using when Godzilla made his first appearance, where they're kind of being projected onto this miniature, because I think the entire set's a miniature at that point, but I'm not sure because it's done really well. And this is also, regardless of just the effects of mixing in real with the special effects, it does a good job of just mixing human characters in there. Like, there's that poor woman who's like huddled with her 3 kids. She's like, "Oh, you know, we're gonna die. We're gonna be with Daddy soon."
Yeah, I know.
It's just like so sad.
Yeah.
But anyways, this scene is complete annihilation, basically, and it kind of climaxes with there's a big giant, you know, radio broadcast tower where people are live broadcasting the destruction, and Godzilla approaches it, and the dude who's on the radio is like, "Okay, we don't know if we're gonna make it, but we're gonna keep going as long as we can." And then obviously Godzilla just throws it down, and it's great. I also forgot to mention that when he first breathes his atomic breath, He does it on some of the telephone poles and the electric barrier. And it's a fantastic effect. Those poles just melt away. It's so cool. And then that was just accomplished. They were just wax miniatures that they just blew hot air at. It's a really simple effect, but it looks fantastic. That's one of the best looking miniatures, by the way, that bridge.
There's also another bridge that he walks over, and as soon as he steps on it, you can see it collapse under him. And I thought, that's a really nice touch.
Yeah, and we should point out, too, that a lot of the... I mean, I don't know how much attention to detail in terms of, like, the actual cityscape of Tokyo went into the miniatures, but I know at least some. Because that one building that has the bell tower that kind of distracts them when the bell's ringing, that's a real building. According to whenever the hell that IMDb trivia thing was written, it was still standing. So, So there's probably other things that are like real buildings too that he's taken down. Oh, in fact, one of the buildings, I think it might have been the one that kind of looked like the Royal Albert Hall that he just like stepped on, but that's a Toho cinema. And apparently when this movie was being shown, people were watching it there, and they freaked out when they saw that.
The majority of the miniatures looks great, and you can kind of cut it some slack because it was made in 1954.
And nobody, at least in Japan, had done anything that elaborate with miniatures before in film.
Yeah. So I mean, like with the monster suit, amazing. It looks amazing, and the movement on it, like the mouth movements, and then the actor in the suit, pretty great. When it comes out of the water, it's great. The suit is shot well. Like again, all the miniatures are great. Oh, the noise Godzilla makes in both his footsteps and his metallic roar. And then, like some of the scenes... It's
not a low-budget movie. This is a huge budget for Japan, but it's a kind of filmmaking that no one had done in Japan yet. The big inspiration for this movie, other than current events, which we talked about a bit, biggest cinematic inspiration for this would be King Kong from 1933. And that movie, obviously, the effects are stop motion. And apparently, early on, they wanted to make Godzilla in stop motion, but literally no one in the entire country was skilled enough to pull that off. And they said that it might take something like 8 or 9 years to make. And then someone at Toho was like, 8 or 9 years, we can release 12 Godzilla movies in that time. So they went ahead with the costume. And I think the costume becomes a lot schlockier in other movies, and that's where a lot of the enjoyment of those movies comes from, and just kind of how stupid they are. But as far as this movie, aiming for a serious thing, they do it pretty well with the costume and with the miniatures.